Today, I'm going to share with you one simple thing you can start doing right now that is going to make a noticeable improvement in your health. So let's dive in. Hey, welcome back. I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm going to share with you one simple thing you can start doing right now that will make an improvement in your health. But before I get to that, I want to talk about what it does and why it works. Because I don't know about you, but for me, when I am implementing something new into my life, personally, I find it helps me to know what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. If I know why I'm doing something, I am much more likely to stick to that new thing or habit. So today we're going to start our talk by talking about leaky gut. I'm guessing many of you have heard this term before. Some of you may or may not know what it means. But let's start by saying that first of all, when we talk about leaky gut, we're not just talking about our gut, our stomach, which is what most people tend to think of. Your gut involves everything from where the food goes in to where it comes out. And more importantly, most of our talk about gut tends to be around the intestines. The reason for this, especially with IBS and autoimmune conditions, is that 70% around there of your immune system lives in your gut, in your intestines. And so it is so important. If we want immune health, we need gut health. So our immune health begins in our gut. When we talk about leaky gut, what does that mean? We think about a leak, something dripping or escaping a container that it's meant to stay in. And this is sort of what we mean when we talk about leaky gut. So I've brought with me my handy sock to explain to you the idea of what that means. So your intestines are a great tube stretching from your stomach all the way to the exit. And that tube is meant to carry all of the things that we digest. But of course it is permeable, meaning things can get out. So if I pour water on this sock, the water will leak through the other side. And we want that. We actually want things to be able to escape our intestines and get into our body. That is how we absorb and take in the nutrients from the food that we eat. However, when we get gut hyperpermeability or leaky gut, basically the fibers of our intestines have stretched such that the holes have become larger and more spread out. What happens here is that larger proteins and items can then leak out of our intestines into our body, things that are not meant to be there. And of course that sends our immune system into hyper alert, and it starts sending out the troops to get rid of these foreign objects. When our immune system is activated, it's done so through inflammation. The inflammation is what activates our immune system, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. However, when we have leaky gut, that means we are triggering our immune system pretty much every time we eat. And that chronic inflammation is when things really start to go awry. And that is where we start to get a lot of these symptoms and these conditions that then develop in our bodies. So we want to stop leaky gut in its tracks. So today I'm going to share with you a supplement called glutamine. Now I know many of you are probably glazing over at the idea of supplements and glutamine, something you may or may not have ever even heard of, but I want to explain the why, and hopefully that will help you see that if this is something that you think will benefit you, that it really is a simple step and it really can have a profound impact. So what happens with L-glutamine is that it actually helps increase the amount of proteins developed that go into the spaces between those membranes and keep them nice and tight. So for those of us who have leaky gut, and the estimate is something like 80 to 90% of North Americans have some stage of leaky gut, whether it's minimal to those of us with immune conditions who most likely have a more severe case of leaky gut. And so having that regular extra infusion of glutamine can really help to tighten those bonds and keep those spaces at a minimum, which means less leaking out, less activation of our immune systems, less inflammation. It also helps with the mucosal lining, which is sort of the mucus, the slime that covers our intestines, which is important for getting that digested food to travel through to the end where it needs to go. So the thing about glutamine is it's really simple. You can get it in a pill form or you can get it in a powder form. Personally, I use the powder, but really it is about preference. I use the powder simply because you can put it into any type of liquid, hot or cold. I put a scoop in my tea. I'm a tea drinker, and I know that I drink 3 cups of tea a day on average. And so for me, what that means is that every time I grab my tea kettle and turn it on, beside my kettle, I have my bottle of glutamine. And that has now become part of my routine. Every time I pull out a mug, a scoop of glutamine goes in, and then I make my tea. And the good thing about it is that it is odorless, it is tasteless. So you can add it to anything and you won't even know it's there. Now, I'll just share with you my personal story with glutamine and why I feel it's so important to get this message out and share it with others who are having issues with IBS and autoimmune conditions. I have Crohn's and I was having trouble keeping iron. So my iron kept getting low to the point where I had to start getting iron infusions. I was having to go and get them every 4 months, pretty regularly. Then I stumbled across glutamine, thanks to a wonderful naturopath I was working with. And once I started taking it, my iron levels stabilized. Now, I still ended up having to get iron infusions because they would slowly drop down, but I went from getting an iron infusion every 4 months to every year, which is a huge improvement. On top of that, I had less bloating, I had less pain and cramping, things that were sort of normal became much more sporadic. So just throwing a little scoop of powder into my tea that I could not taste and forgot was there had a significant impact on my health. And several other people that I've recommended it to have tried it and have noticed varying degrees of difference in their health as well. You can get glutamine pretty much anywhere. If you're a shopper online, you know the places online to get it. You can get it at health food or supplement stores. I recommend you try it. And if you do, leave me a message below and let me know if you found that it made a difference. And remember, when you get it, always remember the why. My husband taught me a little trick when I take different supplements or vitamins. Whenever I take them, I think in my head to myself what that thing is doing for my body. And it reminds me and it motivates me to keep taking it. So every time I put that scoop of glutamine in my cup, I just say to myself, bye-bye, leaky gut. And it's kind of a cute reminder to me what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. Thank you so much for listening today. I truly hope that this helps you. I can't wait to hear if it makes a difference in your health. And until next time, stay healthy.